Hello, everyone. This is a battle between the Lizardmen, piloted by XMT. P is stored in the balls. Excellent name there. And Power Lich, commanding the vampire counts. XMT, I'm pretty confident, is actually XMT current year, but you never know. Could be someone else just masquerading with that name. So let's look at the armies real quick for the lizards. The Umbral Tide, the spiciest lizards in the land. Some skink cohorts with javelins. Always good to just bring the javelins if you have the extra money. That usually the 100 gold that they cost, they will get it back just from throwing those javelins. Couple red crested skinks in the back. No ROR. Star Chamber Guardians, Temple Guards. Magic damage, high stats. If you throw a harmonic convergence on them, if you're running a Heavens caster, they're crazy. So good in this matchup. Guardian, if you can keep him near your Lord, is great. In this case, though, our Lord will be tic-tac-toe, so they're not really going to be able to support him where he is. He doesn't really make a lot of appearances these days, but old tic-tac-toe's got some stuff up his sleeve. The Colossadon Hunters and a Ripper Dactyl Riders, and a Skink Priest of Beast with what looks to be Flock of Doom and Pan's Impenetrable Pelt. That's a little bit of a tongue twister. That's kind of hard to say. But yeah, you don't see that one a lot. What exactly does it do? Again, 20% physical resistance and melee resistance. So whatever unit you cast it on is going to become a tank all of a sudden. And that looks like it for the Lizardmen. These Chameleon Stalkers just pushing up to the front lines of the counts. And for them, a couple Fell Bats, with some distraction and harass. 1, 2, 3, 4 Graveguard, 2 Vargulf, 3 Zombies, a Necromancer, Crypt Ghoul, and Helmengorst. And it looks like we have a Deathcaster, Rockin' Spirit Leech, and a Black Knight on the flank. So kind of a really strange vampire army. Not a lot of mobility. It looks like it's looking to just punch through the front line and then get on top of whatever it wants. But I'm not so sure that's a great idea with Helmengorst, right? You need a lot to kind of tie down the enemy so he can do his work. But we'll see how it works out for him. We'll get things started. I don't think the vampires can see these chameleons yet. Yeah, so... Oh no. Black Knights get spotted, but this Vampire of Death is getting chased. He needs to stay away from this. Oh no. She gets swung around on. Yeah, I haven't watched this replay yet, so I really don't know what's gonna happen here. Chameleon Stalkers shooting into zombies, definitely not what they want to shoot into. One getting around the side, probably gonna start shooting this Graveguard with great weapons. Oh, the Umbral Tide already getting really good damage on that Vampire of Death caster. And I think she just got caught. If she gets caught, she's just dead. Fellbats go in to try to get her out. Will she make it out? It looks like she will make it away. Meanwhile, some other things are going badly for the vampires. Ooh, that Gaze of Nagash completely missed. The vampires are sitting here. They need to be pressing in as fast as possible. The micro's going over here to this caster, who is now in a fight with the Colossadons. And if the Colossadons just go around her, just kind of get a pathing order to surround her, they would kill her in probably 10 seconds. They're going to take a little bit longer to chew her down like this, but they will chew her down. Black Knight's moving to this flank, probably to try and intercept some of these chameleons. There's a lot of skinks. I mean, not chameleon skinks, but chameleon stalkers. There's a lot of skinks on this side, though. These Black Knights can get a lot of value if they just come over here and charge in and out. Meanwhile, it's just, man, a lot of stuff is having so many problems getting in. The Umbral Tide killing these Crypt Horrors. And the Vargulf's working on the flanks, but the flanks isn't where the priority is, if you ask me. The priority is to ball around Helmengorst to make sure he doesn't die. These Umbral Tide can kill Helman really fast, so he's going to send a Vargulf back here, the Counts player, and the Vargulf will wipe the floor with the Umbral Tide. Tic-tac-toe comes back here to help, and they're going to duel it out. Tic-tac-toe does not want to fight a Vargulf, but with these Umbral Tide support, probably will do pretty well. Looks like the Vampire Caster was yeah, I think she died. That's her right there. And the Air Force is just looking at what it can eat next. It can eat these Vargulfs. The Lizards, I mean, generally, even though the battle looks very even, the Lizards have complete control of this battle. It's not going well for the vampires at all. I'm really worried for their ability to stay in this fight. This Vargolf keeps whacking on Tic-Tac-Toe, but even if he kills Tic-Tac-Toe, it's not going to be worth losing this Vargolf. It should have just kept fighting the Umbral Tide, honestly. The Umbral Tide was going to do so much more damage to it than Tic-Tac-Toe ever would. And then the Colossadons descend on Hellman. This is what I was talking about. There's no support here. There's nothing. These Colossadons are going to... they're just going to rip them apart. And with that, the vampires are off to a very, very swift crumbling. You know, I just don't know how they can win this already. This Vargolf is just going to get shot up by the Umbral Tide, and they're already heading that direction. This Graveguard moved to chase down these Chameleon Stalkers, but they lost sight, so they're just standing there. These Graveguard running to Helm Gor's aid, but really should have gotten one of them on top of this Dark Chamber Guardian. And at this point, I think it's just a very short ticket to undead or re-death? I don't know, what happens when a dead person in this army crumbles? Do they re-die? I don't know. I'm not sure of the nomenclature. Whatever it is, though, they're gonna experience it. And yeah, there it is. Things starting to crumble all around. Disintegration's probably gonna start soon. There it is, the vampires disintegrating. And that was a really quick battle. Just not a fan of that vampire army, honestly. It had a lot of problems, but we'll go look at it. Let's see. For the vampires, Helm Gor's not a terrible pick here, but he's hard to defend. There's a lot of stuff that the Lizards can throw at him. And so if you don't ball around him to some extent, it can be hard. The Necromancer, probably just a mana battery. Probably was never really meant to get that much value. The Vampire of Death gets decent value, but dies. Probably wasn't worth it. Should have just cut her. If you cut her, you probably could have had a better front line, or maybe some more mobility. Zombies being zombies. Graveguard, not even coming close to paying for themselves. 4 Graveguard here is dubious. I mean, yeah, they cut through Soros, and they cut through Temple Guard. But quite often, that's not what you see. You see something more like this, where you get hit and run tactics. Not so much. You do see the Colossadons as well, so it's understandable he didn't want to go into the air. Black Knight's doing okay. Bat's getting ripped apart. The Cryptor is getting almost no value, and the Vargolf's just getting shut down. I mean, this was game losing almost in and of itself, besides the rest of the build. For the Lizards, let's see what actually did the damage. Tic-Tac-Toe doing alright. I mean, considering he's super cheap Lord, he kept some stuff busy while it was getting shot and soaked up some damage. Honestly, he did pretty good. The Beast Skink Priest, nah, not so great. I mean, all he had was Flock of Doom. He wasn't ever going to get a lot of value that way. He's more of just a support character. The Skinks, none of the Skinks doing well. Let's see, did any of them, not a single Skink paying for themselves. But that kind of makes sense. They didn't have any good targets really here. Star Chamber Guardian doing really good considering they're basically full health. I mean, that's excellent. They almost paid for themselves before even taking damage. I'm not sure how they managed that one. Maybe it's when they jumped on Gorst? I don't know. The Ripperdactyl's doing okay, but the Colossadon Hunter's doing really good. I think they killed this Deathcaster, the Vampire of Death, and then the Umbral Tide doing excellent as well. And so this army, it needed some mobility. I mean, imagine like 2, or at least 1 Blood Knight running around as opposed to just 1 Black Knight, right? If you cut the Cryptors and maybe 2 of the Graveguard, got some more infantry in there, cut the Spellcaster of Death, and then brought a Blood Knight and maybe like a Sternsman to anchor down onto, this would have lasted, I'm not saying it would have won, but it would have lasted much, much better. I just don't really understand what Power Lich was going for here. Maybe it was a certain build that he was used to, and he's trying to counter it. I'm not really sure. But I hope you enjoyed that video. It was a bit of a short battle. This was sent in by XMT Current Year. I really appreciate you sending that in. Anybody else wants to send replays into me? I love to look at replays, other people's styles, and generally get a better idea of the game outside of my own mind. So feel free to send them to me on my Discord, and I hope you all have a great rest of your day. Thanks again, XMT Current Year. You're the best, and keep them replays coming. Have a good one, y'all.